Now we have some glitter here. Let me just pick up a couple things real quick, and then we'll get started. Because ad break literally just finished. It's Happy Wednesday. Today was just and productive for y'all. Hey Stubby, hey Cat Wizard. A little for me. Yeah, generally speaking, things have been going alright. Mostly just been taking it sort of easy today. Probably Shima's going to be a little quieter on the how many things we get done sort of aspect of it, but I've got a couple of things in mind. A lot of like the big leaps now are mostly dependent on things that I don't control. So not that that's bad or anything, it just means that like probably as many like big jumps as have normally happened previously in terms of like new stuff getting done. Probably gonna slow down at least a little bit. But we'll manage. But yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well. I will also get to talk about one of my favorite things at some point today, which is, I say one of my favorites in the context of, hey, lol, guess what I figured out? How to explain a programming concept that I talked about previously here. Yeah, it's a concept I know I've probably talked about at least once on here, but by virtue of sitting in on another conversation, I now have a methodology for explaining how that thing works in a way that I think makes sense to people, that I wish I had been able to use to explain when I was teaching. So at some point we will talk about it, and we will see how that goes. I am also like a little bit hungry, so if I get up at some point to go randomly like get snacks and put them in the I gotta go turn off that timer. If I get up to go get snacks to go put them in the make SJ less hungry hole, then assuming that's what I'm doing that for. But yeah. We're gonna go to 9 as opposed to like 3 hours mostly. But pardon me. But anyway, let's be about it, shall we? Mostly as far as shoot lander goes, you know. How you doing? All right, let's see. Let's put page 0 all the way over here. So Okay. So, hang on. Had a thought. Pondering. I think this should be okay. Confident. Oh, that reminds me. There we go. We gotta change that one. That looks like it got mixed with Kate. Did it get mixed with KT's description a little bit, or am I imagining? I'm probably imagining things. That was probably the right. That was probably because Shark never gets those wrong. So that's probably right. Like part of it seems, but fix it later. Hi Shan. Okay, right. Let me turn off our music over here. If not, we're gonna be getting audio from the game. So, let's just take it from the title screen. Actually, yeah. How you doing, Shan? Hopefully well. Hang on a second. Gotta adjust the volume just a little because I can't quite hear myself thinking. Knock this down just a little bit so it's not so loud. Just to be safe. Switch screens real quick to do that. This is no. I don't think he's done tutorial music yet. I have to double check that, but I don't think. Pause. Let me go look. Let me go look right now, because I think the only music he's provided for us directly was wrong channel, right channel. Yeah, stage 1 is his music. This one is from the sound pack that we got. At some point, we do need to replace this with more of his music, but oh, the music I'm hearing is machine. That my bad. No, like yes and no. It is literally filler music that I put in from like ages ago, from when KT bought the pack before we had him do music. So you are hearing music from stream, but it is literally the music that is also playing for the tutorial level in the game right now. So what happened to the clouds? Hang on. Did I not? It's not supposed to be. No, because if I do 6,000 mirroring, it doesn't work right. It's supposed to be halves. Or I'm a dingus and I did the split wrong, and that's why things are happening where they should. Hold on. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. One third pixel perfect match. Child node. No, fair. Okay. Horizontally. Okay, so it's supposed to match the actual. All right, that might be why that didn't turn out correctly because I not doing this. But then there it doesn't. No. Okay. See, that's what I thought. So if I do it, what happened to the cloud summit? Like, no, I did it the same way it's supposed to be. Unless there's another layer that I forgot to. Um, no, that one specifically has to be 6,000 or it splits wrongly. That's weird. All right, whatever. Fixed it. It's fine. Anyway, this is where this is where the seam is, but there's a very good chance that I might have caused that myself. So I'm going to check one thing real quick. Nope. Okay, fixed it. So for some reason that I cannot figure out, some of these things get seams if I don't stretch them out far enough, and they double over on themselves too much. But then others, I can't do that, or they get really whack for some reason. Don't know why. Like here, if I do it, if I do this one at 6,000, then it doesn't look right. But 3,000, then there are no seams, and it actually looks like it's supposed. It looks like it's supposed to come together correctly. But I feel like putting some of these into 3 and 6. Yeah, I don't know if that's anything you did or if it's just something. I don't think it's anything you did. I think it's just something that is acting weird programmatically. But I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit and then see what it looks like visually. If it jumps badly or otherwise repeats in a way that doesn't look good. Yeah, something's up the mountains. Okay, hold on. Okay, so parallax, they said. All right, time to go look up a thing and go. Okay, one second. I'm looking at another guide where I might like that's feels like there's something else that I messed up here. All right, so let's take this from the top. I think. 1 second. I'm going to take this from the top. If there is something else I not consider. All right. So get all that off right now. Parallax. Child parallax layer. Child nodes. Right. Actually. Means add child node. Parallax layer. Add child node. Okay. Layer start position. Parallax BG. Alright, so here. Offset here. Not centered. Is that a camera? Somebody. Set the mirroring value to its actual. Okay. Here. Hi Cal, how you doing? Hopefully well. 6,000 is not right. 1,000. So has a C. Okay. Looks like it's mostly just that for whatever reason. Even and still, it is fucking hot and I hate it, but otherwise I live. How are you? I'm doing okay. Um, huh. Why? Oh, the real question is why is it doing that? It's not the same. Yeah, and the overall doing all right. The main thing I can't seem to figure out is why it is exactly that looks like that's interesting. No for artifacts. Is the gradient uneven? Not that I know of. Hang on. The gradient shouldn't, not that I can tell. Yeah, for what it, not that I can tell. I'm gonna switch over to this real quick so I can go dig around in the dig around oh, maybe it looks like the left side of the gradient comes up a little higher than the right side. Yeah, at this one. Or at the very least, yeah. So I'm gonna switch back over to this. Like this part looks like, so if you describe the curve kind of like, I wish I could like actually hang on. I'm hopping off the channel, I'll be back later. Okay. Yeah. Because it looks like there's a little bit of a curve to, yeah. There's a curve to that. Hold on a second, y'all. I gotta check one other thing. Because I could have sworn that I bumped up the Godot version what we were using. Give me 1 second. I could have sworn we bumped. I could have sworn I bumped it up, which means that. Hang on, let me see here. Why should I worry? Why should I care? No, we were on 4.2. Never mind. I'm just misremembering it. Hi, Vinka. How you doing? Okay, yeah, so that one is a little bit uneven, but that's fine. I'm okay. Can't complain. Figuring it out. Hopefully you've been well. Playing around with Hyper Maker XP. Yeah, I'm just sitting down redoing. Uh, just sitting down redoing some of the canvas related, some of the parallax related stuff. It's a little though because it changed a lot compared to earlier versions. Oh yeah, I mean by the time they switched to XP, they straight like with XP, we were straight up getting beyond Rails as far as that as far as that's concerned. Like from what I can remember, all of the RPG makers before XP didn't even let you like poke at the internals at all. So yeah, wouldn't surprise me at all. I said before RPG Maker XP, you, the RPG Maker series did not really focus a lot on even letting you like do, at least from what I can remember, from when I was using RPG Maker 2003 when I was a lot younger. I don't even think RPG Maker 2003 lets you actually change anything under the hood. Not that I know of. And like RPG Maker XP opened up a lot of the internal functions of the way the game works, like a lot of the way that the engine works by using Ruby on Rails, from what I remember. So yeah, no, XP is definitely like a jump up from like RPG Maker 2000 and 2003 and stuff like that. Guy doesn't move at all. Clouds move very little. Back range mountains don't really move that much, right? They're roughly at about the same depth, so they don't move that far either. All right, so I'm just gonna test this real quick. Um, so the thing about parallax scrolling, right, is that the trick to making it work is that the things that are further away from your character should be moving slower, and the things that are closer to your character should be moving faster. It helps sell the illusion that you are moving at a specific speed, right? So when you're doing parallax backgrounds, the main trick is that you want to make sure that the stuff furthest away from the player is moving slow. And then as you add more layers, the stuff that gets closer to the player starts moving faster. Like, yeah, the sky, for example, doesn't scroll at all because it's the sky. Which means, actually, then, when Yuna gets home, I can tell them not to worry about it because I just realized that the sky shouldn't be moving anyway, so it literally doesn't matter. And even if you do want them, and the important thing is that it's about relative, right? So even if I wanted like the clouds and the mountains to move, right, a little bit faster, as long as I make sure that they're moving faster, like relative to each other, it's fine, right? Now the mid-range mountains are like right here, right? They should move a little faster. Right? The mid-range mountains should move at least a little bit faster, but not necessarily very much. Be like a 0.3. We'll try. So right, so mid-range mountains here have all mid-range mountains. Grab those, throw them in here, right? Let's see here. These are a little closer. So that's 0.3. This is like 0.5 maybe. Because since we're saying mid-range, we're going to assume that they're about halfway. And if we even look at where they're arranged, like physically, they're about halfway, right? Between the backmost layer and where we're at, more or less. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go check for seams. Okay. So, because the sky isn't moving, it occurs to me that it doesn't really matter that it doesn't fit, and this probably, yeah, it doesn't. I realize that since the sky isn't moving, we technically don't have to change it because since the sky's not moving, it's never going to reach the point where we hit the seam, which I should have thought of in the first place. So here, though, right, we can see that we have the seam again. So I have to hold this a little bit for when Una comes back. But strangely enough, right, it doesn't seem to clip when I do, or at least the spot where the seam would be becomes a lot less visible if I do it at 3000. But the problem then is that it repeats at a spot where it's not supposed to. So I'm going to leave it at 6000. And then we have to see what's going on over here. Because for whatever reason, it doesn't lay. Yeah. Saw it. I know. But the sky's not moving, so for the sky, it doesn't matter. I care about the seams for the stuff that's like in front of it. But let's see. Turn that off. Yeah, and that's the annoying part because when Una laid out the preview image of it, it doesn't do this. And that's the part. That's the part that still sticks in my craw a little bit. Not because of anything like she did, but just more like I cannot figure out why this keeps happening. Because when I look at the one that she put together for right? Like, for whatever reason. Oh, hang on. Wait, am I okay? No, the blue mountains haven't been put in. Let me take a look here. That's what I thought. So then, what is blocking me? Okay, right, that's what I thought. Oh, what the heck is blocking this then? Why can't I see? Oh, do I had two of them. Why do I have two of these here? Oy vey. Alright, hold on. Okay. I have that part. That's about the length of the parallax between mid-range, all mid-range. So it looks like it's basically the same issue that kind of keeps repeating itself, where I think it might primarily be because this is the thing, at least from what I'm seeing. I may have to like what I can do about fixing it. It feels like the main thing that we kind of keep running into that when yeah, the individual parts are still not yeah. It's just that it's literally not end to end perfect. The clouds are like the only thing where I think we're getting that effect. That's because they have enough space in the middle that it's fine. But from what I can wait, yeah, this is actually for the mountains here, it's not as bad, right? These ones in front, because this little dip here, right? Unless you're looking really hard at other elements of it dry, you don't notice as much. But yeah, it feels like one of those things where, from what I can feel out, the right end and the left end are not being designed in such a way that they are end to end congruous with each other. And that's, I think, the part that I have to talk with Una and figure out. And that's why we keep getting seams because we're not, somehow or another, it is not being laid out in such a way that, like, they're contiguously end to end. And that's mostly it. So I think it's one of those things where edges. Is this something that Godot is doing? Yes and no. So here's the thing, right? From what I can tell, when I look at the actual like sprite design, because I could probably go like make all right, time to do something silly and unwise on the other screen. Give me a second, let me make sure. If my suspicion is right, then that is I saw the redeem. Just give me a second. I have to think of something while also juggling this. So give me a minute and I'll have it. Uh, unwisely long. Can be fun if you're happy. No, I need a minute. It's because I'm juggling two things at the same time. It doesn't have to be refunded. I just need to I need to finish the thought that I'm having first, and then I'll do it. I'll just do it with. Okay, so basically speaking, right? What is happening primarily is that the dividing line for where the seam happens is like right here, right? So with this one, right? So basically, this is basically the thing. I'm gonna make a not be confused by similar grade. Yep. Um. Anyway, so here's the main thing. Oh, that's not right. Brush. Oh, I did have a regular ass brush. I just did. It's on the wrong basic ground brush. So here's what's going on, right? It's a little bit difficult to see because shenanigans. So this edge over here, right? And this edge over here. Fire Alpaca as a tool for designing seamless patterns. I do not know what Una uses. I will talk with her about it a little bit later when she gets back. But here's the thing, right? So the main thing is that the reason why we're getting seams is because edge here and the edge here are not being designed in such a way that, so we'll call this edge number, for lack of a better term, we'll call this edge number 2 and edge number 1, right? Edge number 2 and edge number 1, when they're laid end to end, right? So 1 is over here, 2 is over here, 1 is over here. Basically, it needs to be set up in such a way that when edge number 2 and edge number 1 are laid end to end with each other, um, that's why we're getting the issue that we're getting. I'm gonna do emphatic again real quick so I can pull in a couple other files and demonstrate my point. I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally pulling in things that y'all are not supposed to see. So that's why I keep switching back and forth a little bit. It's just to make sure that copy paste. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking. So, right, like I said, edge number 1, edge number 2. The way that these need to be designed is so that they're put together in such a way. So this is the theoretical example. This document that I'm in right now is 12,000 pixels long, right? Because each half is 6,000. So basically, the thing that is happening here, and I'm gonna have to keep this up so I can demonstrate this to when they get back. The long and short of it is literally just that edge number 2 and edge number 1 are not being designed in such a way that when they meet, they stay contiguous, right? That's pretty much it. The actual fact that it's like 6,000 pixels or not, it's not really that big of a deal, but it is very literally just that it's Yeah, it is largely just that like edge number 2 and edge number 1 don't yeah, edge number 2 and edge number 1 basically are just not being put together. They're not being designed in such a way that they're not being designed in such a way that they are edge to edge with each other seamlessly. Um, I'm gonna hold on to this, and then when Una comes back, I will literally point it. I'll literally point at this and be like, "This is why it's not. This is why we keep having this particular issue crop up." And it's literally just like a matter of like we gotta like figure out how to get it to seem how to like design the two edges so that they line up better. Because if I take, for example, right, I'll turn off these two up here for a second. If I take this one and I try to like push it back, right? See that depending on how, like, if I push it to like 3,000, right? It somewhat covers this up a little, but then it comes a little short. Then it winds up coming a little short at the end. So, like, really, it's a matter of we just need to get edge number 2 and edge number 1 to seamlessly flow it to each other. If we get this part down, then we're literally fine. So, in the meantime, I'm going to set it up the way that it needs to be set up as far as the what's it called? As far as the parallax backgrounds go, and then it's just literally a matter of getting the sprites right. Okay. Anime and manga trivia. I'm trying to remember the two. I'm trying to remember the two manga specifically that I was thinking of, and my brain is skipping a beat. I'm not going to skip it. I just need to go look up something real quick. There we go. All right. Try to draw an. Yeah, probably. Like, based on what I was seeing in the video that I went to go look at, it's a thing where where basically, yeah, like both, like you basically have to like split it so that one half of the mountain is on one, like half of the mountain is on one side and it's complementing half is on the other side, and then that will do it, more than likely. Um, Pretty much. So, um, right. Anime manga fun fact. Did you know that the creator. Hang on, let me make sure that I have this right. Yeah. Did you know that the creator of Beastars is the daughter of the creator of Baki the Grappler? Yeah, Binka, that's what I figured. Like looking at the video that I was looking at, I figured that's pretty much something like that is more or less what we would have to do. After looking at it for like a little bit longer, but that makes sense. Yeah. Keiichi Itagaki. Wrote Baki the Grappler from, according to this, from 91 to 99. And did like 4 sequel series. His daughter Paru Itagaki is the artist for Beastars. It's not something that she talks about very often, if at all. I think it's only come up like the one time, and she was very intent on like not letting that be public knowledge for a while, if ever. Explicitly because she was like, I would like to be recognized on my own merits, right? And so it wasn't known for like a while, right? I think she's been writing under the pen name Haru. I think she's been writing under the name Haru Itagaki for a while. But you know, keeping in mind the way that like surnames work, right? You can't assume that like two people that have the same last name Smith are related. So same thing here. So yeah, people never drew the connection until at some point, right? And what my general understanding is that the Japanese tabloid was the one to report. Yeah, you know, Haru Itagaki, you know, author of Beastars, is the daughter of Keisuke Itagaki, who writes like Baki the Grappler and all that stuff. So basically, at some point, sat down with her dad, did a joint interview in Weekly Shonen Champion in like 2019, and said, "This is me just checking the Wikipedia to be clear, right? This is all like publicly available knowledge. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia to make sure I have the dates right. Quite literally, it's just, hey, sat down with her dad and did an interview apparently where she's like, yeah, I wanted to make sure that I was established in the industry. People wouldn't like just call me like a nepo baby, basically. Kind of like why Nicolas Cage changed his name from very, very similar line of logic, right? And then on the other hand, you have people like Drew Barrymore, who, if you go looking far back enough in like American Hollywood history, the names Ethel and John Barrymore, you'll go, wait, hold up. So they were like in it. Drew Barrymore is related to them. Which has its own set of problems. In the sense that, you know, the burden of expectation is a terrible thing. Is how I'm going to phrase that. And that's not even me necessarily saying, oh, this means that you should feel sorry for like rich people, right? Not even that necessarily. But more along the lines of like, the burden of expectation is a terrible thing means very simply that exactly what it sounds like, actually, to be completely honest with you about it. If you set your own expectations, that's different, right? But people kind of like setting expectations on you, if you don't know how to deal with that, that can be a very self-alienating thing in certain aspects. You understand what I mean? Where like you wind up doing things because everybody expects you to do them as opposed to because you want to do them, and that can get you kind of fucked up. I'll be honest about it. Let me down. Also, okay. I saw the hydration, that's why I'm getting up. I'm gonna go pour water. Manga trivia. Beastars and Baki the Grappler. Unexpected connection. Thank you for those redeems, Vinka. I appreciate it. Any road. Making sure. So yeah. The good thing is that as long as we keep the size the same, once we figure that part out, then we're pretty much good to go. Ah, damn it, ads. I'm gonna chill over here while ads are running. I get some really cringe ads sometimes. Oh. Okay, ad break's done. Ad break looks like it's about done. Do I want to know how cringe was? It's like, or is it going to be one of those things that's like super cursed that we don't that I'm not really sure. Yeah, no. Sometimes Switch just does give you just some like just weird stuff. I do need to adjust some of these a little bit more though. This doesn't move quite that fast, yeah. I almost beat Yuko and PCB. Impressive. And I do mean that like legitimately, because like I'm really, really terrible at actual Toho. Like I love Toho fan games like a lot, but I can't. Or rather, which is funny for somebody that's developing like a shmup, I am not very good at like actual mainline Toho at all. I love the fan, like a lot of the fan games, like really good, but like actual like mainline Toho, nope. I am not built like that. Izula's like if I was good. So yeah, you see here, right? And even then, I think some of the stuff probably like some of the mountains are still probably moving a little bit too fast. Clouds are like 0.1. Attack range mountains are like 0.1. So let's compress down some of these bits still. Mid-range mountains are like 0.2. Tall mid-range mountains are like 0.25. Mid-range mountains are like 0.3 maybe. Tree mountains are a little closer to this, so they're 0.75. And the front tree line is like near us, so it's like 0.85, give or take. So if you right, and again, this is kind of like the trick as far as like getting parallax to look right. The things that are the farthest away should be moving the slowest. As the layers get closer to where your character is, they should move faster. Front tree line, for example, I could put it, one is maybe like a little bit too fast, right? Or it's maybe just about right. There. And even then, if I feel like those back mountains are still moving too much, I can compress it down even further. Like maybe, right, like the back, mid, and like maybe, let's see. It feels like these are still like a little bit, I may need to just compress the ranges a little bit closer together. Maybe use like 0.2. And the thing is that it's a balance between making, right, because you see how that feels different, right? Because now they're all moving at the same pace, and it feels off somehow. Whereas if we yeah, like it's all about like the little subtle touches, right? The mid-range mountains should move, and the tall mid-range mountains should also move mid-range like a little faster. But yeah, you see how now the vibe is different, right? And that's the tricky about like getting parallax right. Thankfully, Godot makes it easy by virtue of the way that like the parallax scroller works, right? So long as you have your actual images set up correctly, a lot of like the really complicated feel stuff is handled pretty easy. And it is okay to have like bigger gaps between your and it is okay to like have like bigger gaps between your individual layers as far as the parallax goes, as long as you make sure that you, again, it's all about proportions, right? Like if we had a layer that went above the player, for example, right? Like if there was supposed to be things that were passing in front of the player, which we don't have because like obscuring the player in a game like this is like really dirty. Is like really dirty, so we're not doing that. But like, if there was like a layer that was above where the player is, that one would probably be moving even faster to help sort of like sell that illusion of it's going. BRB, I'm gonna go eat. Yep, enjoy your food. But I see what you mean. Yeah. And it's nice once you get the feeling, and like that's one of the things I like about Godot is that it makes layering this all relatively easy. And so literally once the seams are handled, then it's pretty much a done deal, right? Like, I don't think, even in watching this now, since adjusting the parallax speeds a little bit for each layer, I don't think we've had another one of like those, oh god, jump cuts in like a hot second. Which is good. So yeah, like I think part of it is because I also stopped moving the actual sky, so it makes it so it doesn't do like funny jump cuts anymore. Oh yeah, and then here's level 1. I don't remember if I showed this yesterday or last time, but we now have I gotta fix this part because the boss has to start further back to account for the fact that it's bigger now. Hold on a second. Why is that? Game Steam results. Okay. Should have done this first, honestly. Oh, it never reaches that code, that's why. Basically, I just need to check. Oh. That's why I messed up there. Okay, hang on a second. I can fix this. Well, I can make it into a Yonk command. I want to do is over here in game state results. What I want to do is transition, not the name scene, transition to there we go. And then that should okay, cool. Yeah, the reason why okay. So yeah, now that I fixed that, it should behave properly. The long story short is that because I didn't set this up correctly. Um, I didn't set this up correctly when I was trying to like do code on the back end for right. When you need to go to the next level, do this, which is my fault. You know, got to do that, but it should be handled now. But I do need to stage one boss real quick, um, and check a couple of things about its behavior. Okay, right. So I should do. Why did it pop as if someone was adding me about something? That's weird. Okay. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm just sitting here thinking about why I was getting called twice. Let me see. Enemy state defeated. Only happens at the start. Spot where the HUD scores be. All right. Figure it out later. Real question is how do I make sure this thing starts back far enough? Gotta go to the enemy spawner, I think. Enemy spawner. Oh, that's why. I was like, I'm like, why did I get a ping? Like, who was pinging me? What was going on? And then I finally saw. I was like, okay, this makes sense now. Okay. Next offset for enemy servers. Ah, making that a constant was probably not a good idea. Oh, wait, no, I can still make it work. I can still make it work because Past Me is a genius. All I have to do is go to stage one. Because the thing I'm trying to figure out right now is just making sure that the boss doesn't spawn like right in your face, right? Or at least it doesn't spawn like bam right there. So all I really have to do is, because I set, hey, spawn at the edge of. So basically, if I push it further back, then if I physically push the spawn data further, the spawn position further to the right, it will also push over a little bit more. So all I really need to do is like do like 1380, I think, and that should be far back enough that like with the bigger sprite, it still has to like physically come on screen a bit more before stuff happens. Welcome back, Vinka. Um, let's see. I think I gotta double check some layers again because it feels like there are two things that are moving. There are things that are moving at the same speed that feel like they shouldn't be. I gotta check a couple of layers again real quick for this. Oh, I didn't look. I didn't actually check to see how far on screen the boss showed up. I gotta. Okay, yeah. For some reason, the score is happening twice. Not really sure why. Ah. Okay. I was afraid of that. But it's okay. I think we have a way of handling this. Level manager, we're going to do very simply. Check this out. Public static level name, public static string level name, and it's going to be get protected set. Check this out. And on ready, we're going to do level name equals name. It should get us the name of the node that this is attached to. And now all we really have to do is over here in screen transition, no, not there. Game state results, just need to do, right? So we're going to do level manage, because like we should only have a game state results. This script should only be existing in scenes where we have a level manager, and by proxy, we have a level to name, right? So level manager dot level name. And then we're going to do a switch on level manager dot level name instead, right? Because when I did root, I'll put it like this. I was saying, hey, go check the very base of the scene and then tell me what the name of the base of the scene is, and then make your decision about what to do in the results screen based on both what result, what the effect variable is set to, and some other stuff, right? But as you see here, it said root, right? And root is not matched anywhere in like stage one, so it's like I don't know what to do. So this time though, I think I should have been able to fix it. Oh wait, I said I was gonna check the parallax for stage one. So let me stop and do that real quick. We're gonna come over here, parallax. Sky is that, back is that, mid mountain ranges. Slow it down a little bit. Got to keep it real. Got to keep it real. Got to. All right. Hi, everybody from Juice at the Stream. My name is Sean. You can call me that. SJ. I make games, play games, games make me basically. And today we are working on a game that I have been working. Sounds redundant when I say it like this, but howdy, I had a couple more viewers, but it took too long to find someone to stream. But what you look all looks interesting. Yeah, this is. Let me turn off this offset here and arrange a couple things again. This is the first game dev project that I've been working on with the co-op that I helped co-found. If you do exclamation point munity, like you see up in the title there, like so. Kind of learning more about us and what we do and all that other stuff. Yeah, you want just the one. Yeah, typos be typoing. It's all right. But yeah, if you want to know more about us and what we do, you can head over to munity.games. But yeah, what I'm working on now is a side-scrolling shoot 'em up called Shoot Lancer. It is our first game as a game dev co-op. I am the lead programmer and lead game and like game design lead on. So pretty much, it is my job to kind of like figure out how to do all the things like make go and all that. I gotta check one thing. Okay, no, that's right. So then why is it acting funny over here? Yeah, we'll figure it out in a minute. But yeah, what were y'all working on? What we all up to? What shenaniganery was afoot with your project? Let's found these offsets a little bit. I can't. Yeah. Okay. Got these back into position. Standing. That's awesome. Very similar to our own background. I work on our first game in the studio, and one of the two lead devs so far. We're working on a crafting RPG with a bunch of AI generating game data stuff under the hood. Started out with a little prototype. Nice. Excellent. I'm just resorting some of the parallax stuff here real quick. And then I'm gonna check the parallax speeds, make sure that I didn't leave a couple of these in some funny spots. Yeah, I am always down to support people who are out here doing the thing. These trenches do in fact be trenching. But yeah, we basically do game dev every Wednesday on the channel, and then Fridays I do fighting games. Sundays, um, is usually JRPGs. But sometimes like other games. Well, yeah. Usually I just do like weekly. I just like stream like once a week, just the progress that we're making and sort of where that's at, how it's going. So I'm literally just like resorting some. I'm just resorting some parallax stuff that. I'm just resorting some parallax stuff that needed to get updated from when I initially put it together. Okay, good. That's fine. Um, yeah, you just caught us literally in the middle of that. So let me come back over here and kind of check the speed. Dead trees are like the frontmost layer. Let's put that at like a 1 point. I'm slightly like the main point mostly of me adjusting some of these is not to make them exactly the same speed as the layers that we saw previously. Um, I'm literally kind of just like accounting it for. I forgot to change them, so that's why some of these look like they were moving together. Front mist about halfway there. That's 0.4. That's 0.35. 0.2. 0.2, and the sky shouldn't move at all. All good, excited to learn how to bit check how things going. Brain equals, yeah, completely understandable. Feel free to hit exclamation point lurk and lurk as you see fit. Hydrate up and do everything that you need. We'll be here for like another 40 minutes or so. I usually stream. I usually stream until 9 p.m. on Wednesdays. When I manage to start on time, it's usually 6 to 9, and we do like a solid 3 hours of just like dev stuff. And there we go. That's much better. That is much better. Because before I was talking about this earlier, so like basically the thing with parallax, right, and the thing that I forgot to sort of account for when I was putting together you look for this particular level once the spikes came in. The trick with parallax is to make sure that the stuff farther away from you moves slower, the stuff closer to you moves faster. Looked at a couple of the layers closely enough, so some of them were moving at the same speed, and that wound up kind of like arresting it a little bit, and it made the movement not feel quite so natural. But now, yeah, much better. All right, let me look and see with you. Okay, yeah. I just have to push it back further, a little more horizontally, the boss, and then we should be good. I just have to push it back a little bit farther, and then we should be good on that front. Excellent. And we even get the transitions between levels to work correctly. Yes. Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes. Good. Level transitions work. So let me come over here and make some notes about the stuff I was working on. Fixed parallax scrolling rates, tutorial, and stage 1. Fix the parallax scrolling rates for the tutorial in stage 1. That's handled. Okay. Fix. Properly. Okay. What else? Okay, right. We should fix this comment now. It's not stuff anymore. And if told to go to the next stage, check check the name of the current stage and use that to kick off another switch. Now level 1 goes straight to level. So if I want to at some point like do an interstitial, right? Back soon. All right. Enjoy food. I hide the stage clear window when button. So that's the nice thing, right? So when from the moment the stage results screen opens, right? We only do this one time. We basically set it up so that whenever we get around to clicking the title, right? There are different ways that we can kind of set this up. Because the game state's result state is just a window that says, hey, stage is clear, here's your time, here's your score, here's the continue button. So the continue button is basically programmed to do one of three things based on what this variable is set to. The current is sound effect for when we click the continue button in the results window. If it says to title, then when we press it, we set it up so that it, right? This second switch statement determines which which stage should be loaded when the continue button is pressed. Now stage 1 goes straight to stage 2, right? If there's a point where it's like, no, I want to make sure that we have like an interlevel cutscene, right? I could do like stage 1 cutscene dot 2 string, right? And have it like go to a cutscene in between that, set up the stage, set up the cutscene to do whatever it's going to do, and then after that, have the cutscene transition into stage 2 afterward, right? So this switch statement is going to become. I need to be careful about like things not reflex on the wrong screen. That's that's bad. I shouldn't do that. Okay, so right, that's handled as far as like the stage one, stage two part, right? So that works fine, and that's how we got to that stage where it's just like a black screen, and you're like, oh god, what is going on here? So for the purposes of, let me just do parallax. We'll just throw in a parallax here for right now. Add child node, parallax layer. Have another child node for right to B. Literally, I'm just gonna go grab a that. Transform scale is literally just 1287 offset and off that 0. Or better yet, let me just quick load. Oh, that's fine. It's gonna be this really searingly obnoxious pink, but that's fine for right now. Like, yeah, it's gonna be like in a really obnoxious pink. Um, or I could just like grab. I guess I could just grab one of the other sky textures and like throw it in there, and that would be fine. Oh yeah, it's moving. I need to turn that off. Motion 0, 0. Thank you very much. No moving. Yeah, let me just grab one of the other sky textures and just like throw it in there. That will be a little bit less obnoxious to look at. I'll just grab we'll just grab that one for right now, and it doesn't move. And then scale back to 1, 1. Horribly, not horribly weird. Cool. All right, we're gonna have an ad in about like 2 minutes or so, if my timing is correct. So I'm gonna take a second to switch back screens a little bit, and sort of talk about a couple things before we like, because ads are gonna come up, and then we have like the back end of stream. That's about it. So yeah, the I should go push back while I'm at it. I'm just gonna go push back, on thoughts. And it has like a little bit more time cost. back. I'm pulling on. Okay, Yuna, perfect timing. So, I'm gonna switch back over. This is the issue with the seams. Edge 1 and edge 2 have to be done in such a way that they are congruous with each other. So 2 things, actually. One is that the sky layer, you don't have to worry about messing with the you don't have to worry about messing with the gradient for that, because I'm just gonna make it so that the sky all the way in the back, that gradient just doesn't move. Then we don't have to worry about it. So that's one thing, right? The other thing, so like even then, that means you can knock the sky back now by 1280 and you're good. Like the sky doesn't have to be 6000 anymore. Like the sky just needs to be like 1280 and it should fit across. If you want to still make it at 6000 just in case we need it for something later, that's fine. But 1280 should be enough. Okay, but the other major thing, this is why we're having the seams issue. I sat down and sort of like thought about like the parts of it that were like scrungly in my head. This is the deal. This was happening, right? If so, number 2 here, right? 2 is the very edge, is like the right edge of the picture, right? And then 1 is the left edge. The problem is that when you've been designing it, you've been designing it so that this part looks good, right? Which is fine. The problem is that where they are, like the seams are happening, because when it repeats from 2 to 1, those sides aren't designed asymmetrically enough for them to join correctly. That's the issue. That's the thing. So literally when like the back, like when you're spriting the parts, when you're spriting them out, when you're like spriting the mountains and everything, the thing is that like the left edge and the right edge have to be able to line up with each other when laid end to end, right? So if that's something like, I'm not going to say literally, if it's cut in half the way it is now and then you cut where it's right? What I'm saying is, like this area here, right? For example, this area here, when put on the right side of this area here, they have to line up seamlessly. The reason why we keep having seams show up is because when you're doing the full 6000, you're designing for like, you've been designing for like this part to line up, which is fine. But, right, again, if number 1 is over here, we scroll, we come to 2. You got to set it up so that 2 and 1 align with each other when they're put end to end. That's the part that we keep running into, where that's why it's not lining up. You feel me? And then, of course, ads kicked in at literally right when I asked that. Dang it. Yeah, I'm going to wait for ads to clear, and then we'll get back to it. I'm going to wait for ads to clear. Every time. Ooh, that's spicy. I'm gonna wait for the act clear. Every time. It should be alright. It should be done in like a minute or so, and I can actually get back like to talking about the stuff I want to talk about. Alright, back. All in. So yeah. So the good thing about this though, is that it means explicitly that you do not have to worry about redoing the middle of like the mountains and stuff like that, or the trees. The mountains and the trees and like the hills and stuff like that, where we do have seams, it is just a matter of making sure that the second edge and the first edge line up with each other. Right? So again, right, the whole 1 come to 2 has to line up with 1. I don't think we are having a similar issue with stage 1 that I can see anyway. Turn off the screen transition back real quick and try to look real close. I do not think we are having I don't think we're having similar concerns with seams with stage 1. I think that whether it's because of like the way that you spaced out because of the way that you spaced out things or otherwise, I do not think that we are having that issue with I don't think we're having that issue with stage 1, from what I can tell. So yeah, it is mostly literally just that whenever you're doing like the mountains and stuff for stage 0 or for future mountains, right? Especially if the mountains are going to be like contiguously shaped. Yeah. If the mountains are going to be contiguously shaped, it's either things have to stay away from the edges, which causes gaps. So that's why it doesn't work, probably. But probably if you can just figure out how to get that nice little asymmetrical join for 2 going into 1, that should probably hit. If you want to know how specifically I tested it, so I went into Affinity Photo, right? I just took the same 6000 by 720 sprites that you made. I made the canvas, double that length, and then just put them end to end, and then checked at the spot where they first joined. If you get 2 and 1 to match for the mountains and everything in one spot, then they will literally be fine for everything else. And so, yeah, no problem. So yeah, insofar as, so yeah, all you really have to do is just worry about getting those ends to line up for like all the mountain stuff. Like I said, the skies, like the sky gradient, I'm gonna leave at 0 for motion, so it's not gonna move at all, and it's only gonna be like the clouds and stuff. Insofar as the clouds are concerned, just make sure that like if the clouds overlap on the edges, same rule. But if you choose to just be like, nah, forget it. Like, just make sure I'm just gonna make sure the clouds like stop far enough away from the edge that they don't overlap. Then that works too. Either or. So, yeah. Basically, at this point, right? Largely, as far as Shoot Lancer itself is concerned, this is like a general sort of like progress note for people that have been here for a while. Like, all right, so what's going on with Shoot Lancer? Primarily, the things that I am going to be spending a lot more time working on, mostly are going to be dealing with like the waves for stage 2. And kind of like making sure that those get sorted out. So that's 5. Oh, hold on. Check the times. So the spawn time here is 5. Put these at 9, and then the middle one at 11. Even like 9.5, just to like break it up a bit. Hold on. Too far apart. Hang on, let me do this. Gotta make sure that this is getting the right. Gotta make sure this is getting the right number of enemies. Okay, it is. So then it's just a question of making sure. Okay, wait, why is auto spawn turning off? That's the main question. So auto spawn turned off there for a second. I need to figure out why. And this is why when you can help it, right? You don't get rid of your debug statements. You just comment them out. And this is why. Because the debug statements that I made all this time ago were sort of like sorting out the way that like enemy spawning behavior works. I can now just uncomment them, look at them, and use them as points of reference for figuring out should also I go turn off tank message, right? Safety. Figured out why you weren't doing that stuff before, so we don't need you now. Okay, we gotta watch this thing. For some reason the auto spawn function is turning off way before it's supposed to. That's why. So basically, it's because, and this is the thing. Let's talk about if else logic for a second here, because this is the important one, right? Here's the deal, right? If we leave off that part, we just say else. Here's the way this works. If our spawning index, right? In other words, if the current enemy that we're going to be spawning, right? If we have not yet spawned, right, all of the enemies that are in our list, right? And we have not yet reached the enemy in our list that's our boss, then we keep spawning, right? Else, turn auto spawning off. Here's why that was breaking. Boss index is set to -1 by default and is only confirmed differently while we're setting up, right? If at some point we find, right, where our boss is in our list of enemies to spawn, that's when we set the boss index. So if we never set the boss index, it is always at -1. It starts at -1 by default and is set in the ready function if spawn data for that boss exists, right? So if it is set to a different number in the ready function. So this is basically a fast and dirty way of saying if our boss index is at -1 still, then that means that we don't have a boss, right? Which is why I went to all this effort of double checking to like do a thing to say, hey, right? You have to double check to see if we have exceeded the count of our list of enemies to spawn yet, and then go from there, right? So with just the else code, right? Here's the problem. So if our spawning index +1, right? So if our next enemy that we're going to spawn is still not the boss, then we just increment it and keep going, right? However, here's the problem. If I leave it as else, then this means that if spawning index +1 is greater than the boss index, right? Then we stop auto spawning. Normally, that's fine in the sense that if we have a boss enemy, right, then we know, oh, right, dag. I should say double equals, right? If the next enemy is going to be the boss, then we should turn off auto spawning. The problem is, what if we don't have a boss? If we don't have a boss, well, in this case, if I do this, then it should actually fix itself. But it's still relevant that I do this part, right? If we don't have a boss and I leave it as else, then what will happen is it'll go else if without this part, it's just going to assume, then okay, I'm going to check to see for this part if this part is not true, right? So spawning index +1. By default, by the time we hit this point, the spawning index is always at least 1 at a minimum, and then gets incremented afterward. So 1 is never less than -1, which means that if there's no boss enemy that's put in there, then with the code as written right now, like this, because there's no boss enemy yet in the stage 2 stuff, and because the boss index will be always -1 as long as there's no boss enemy set there, what's going to happen is it will skip this line of code, jump to here, and turn off auto spawn. However, if I do else if, then that forces it to then evaluate this if statement as well before checking if you turn off auto spawn or not, right? And then if it falls through either of those cases, which we should do just to be safe, both of the above cases fall through, then Actually, mid-range mountains. Okay, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna switch screens so that I can like sit down and go dig through some of the. Oh, there it is. Download this real quick. Yeah, I hit the screen so I can sit down and some back end stuff without having to juggle something. That okay. Let's take a look. See page 0. Okay, hold on. Let's do the end to end test. All right, let's do the end to end test and let's take a look. I'll put it up on screen for y'all in a second after I'm done uh doing the thing. 0 0 paste 1,000 0. This. Yeah. So like the back range ones wind up making this funny looking double peak, which might make it a little obvious. So even for like the back range, even though it looks clean, you probably still have to wind up like doing the same thing just so it doesn't look like this little. People will probably not notice, but yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Perfect. Exactly. No notes.
Yes.
Cool. I almost accidentally. All right. Pretend that you didn't see that save window pop up because I wasn't paying attention and accidentally hit save on that. Okay. Now I need to look at. Oh Lord, are you? Oh Lord, is it doing a seam in the middle? Hold on. No, this is the one that's correct. Mid-range mountains is fine. It's just that it's the other one I was looking at, and it's like. But okay, good, perfect. So yeah, like like I said, the sky. I'm just gonna have the sky not move at all. So don't worry about the fact that like you see the seam here for the sky. Don't worry about it because the sky's not moving anymore. So it should be fine. Anyway, right, the thing I was saying before. So right now with that else if statement that I put in, it should be set up in such a way that the game will keep spawning without like going like oh ha 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 and freaking out on me. Or so I thought. Okay, hold on. Time to go check it, I guess. Again. Ball. Alright, hang on. Let's see. I know it can't be started directly. It's not what I meant to do. Okay. Cool. So let's try this again. Oh, why is the enemy to spawn M? I was about to say that doesn't make sense. It's empty. Oh wait, hold on. Was it empty or was I bugging? Hold on, hold up, hold up. Oh, oh, okay, no, I was bugging. So the real question is just why. What's the idea behind the patterns of stage two? What am I thinking? Um, thanks to Stubby, the tanks. Thanks to Stubby, we have a motion for the tanks already. They kind of do this like square-ish sort of curly cube pattern. So mostly the intention is probably to have a lot of it with the tanks either coming down the middle, um, tanks kind of like coming down and covering the middle, with an occasional enemy flanking from like the top or the bottom to sort of like uh, close people down and out and around. That's the intention. Um, that's the plan. But the first thing is like actually get the rest of these assholes to spawn. Oh, I'm so silly. Why didn't I think about that in the first place? Literally, a situation was like, right, it's not printing either of those, which means that neither of those conditions are true. And that's why it wasn't working. But it should be fine now, I think. Yep, there we go. So that's not going to be the final pattern, obviously, for that part of it, but I just need to get them spawning in the first place. So yeah, the main thing is that because of the way that tanks move, do this kind of like squared out curly cue pattern. Again, that's like Stubby's idea. So this means that depending on where they're at, they cover a pretty big chunk of screen real estate. So it slightly reduces, right? Um, it very slightly reduces how much vertical space the player really has to work with because they move in these curlicues, like the tanks move in these curlicues that both include horizontal and vertical directionality. So probably the waves will be a little bit. The general rule feels like um, the general rule sort of feels like for tanks, like I want to have um, like high flanking patterns as far as like where enemies come from, but probably not to include very many of them on top of that. I think that's my line of thought. Insofar as like that's my line of thought personally. Insofar as like how I want the designs to go. Um, I need to put this in as a bug fix. Um, bug enemy enemies autos on does not break any. Then auto spawn is on, but no cross spawn has been. So yeah, I have to double check the actual document that I made to sort of see which enemies and which enemy types were supposed to be in stage two. But with tanks now kind of being in the mix, it's one of those things where you got to think about the verticality a little bit differently now because the main idea with stage one is that near the end of stage one, you start getting a lot of enemies. You start getting a lot of formations where um, the troopers are placed at like opposite vertical ends so that they converge toward you and shoot while you have like a drone coming through the middle or a scout kind of like oscillating up and down. Because like the main thing mostly is that scouts, because of the nature of how they fire and how they shoot, scouts sort of create these staggered vertical waves of shots that help cover that high ground, while troopers kind of like hone in toward you at for the first little while to kind of like try to hem you in from the top and the bottom, or both, depending on like how the wave is. So the the main trick mostly is that with the tanks, it's now a question of how we sort of put a similar spin on that because tanks fire slower, so they're not as much of a threat in that sense the way scouts are. So now it's mostly a thing of like positioning the patterns such that scouts or other enemies kind of like drive you back toward the tanks to sort of like freak you out a little bit so you're more likely to make a mistake and get hit by a tank and take a bigger chunk of damage. that's gonna be the part that that I have to figure out now and kind of sort out. I have a couple ideas of how to do it, but it's gonna take a little more shenaniganry. But okay. With all that said, though, we are at 9:16, and I want to make sure we get out of here before ads come and bully us. So let me switch over here and. Doing the update as we speak. All right, cool. So, I do game analysis and design articles over at cohost.org/SJHSgames. I'm overdue to do a How It Goes with Godot post over there. So if you want to sort of see or hear more about my experience with Godot, you'll want to look out for those posts on Cohost. I have past game design articles up at sn-heron.medium.com. Stream VODs will be always up at youtube.com/@SJHDoesGames. If you want to support me in the stream but don't want to give money to Amazon and Jeff Bezos, Ko-Fi is the best way to do that. I keep $4 every month out of out of a $5 subscription on Ko-Fi. So if you want to support me in the stream that way, better to do it over there if you don't want to mess with like Twitch subs and things like that. My card has all my other social media links on it, but I mostly am on Cohost for like more personal things. Usually on like Blue Sky and Twitter, I'm mostly just like retweeting Shoot Lancer news and other occasional stuff like that. Again, if you want to know more about Munity, which is like the small indie game studio co-op that I helped found and that I'm making Shoot Lancer with, you can go to munity.games for that. We have a Patreon with 2 tiers, free and paid, over at patreon.com/munity. Even if you don't, even without being like a paid subscriber on Patreon, you do get into like the credits of the game and all that other stuff. So if that tickles your fancy, do that. Though like paid members do get a couple extra perks. And then if you want to play Shoot Lancer, we update it basically every month, give or take. We haven't missed a month yet. If you want to play the most recent version that is available, which is not the one I'm working on now. What I'm working on now will be like our late July update. If you want to play the version that currently exists, though, go to munity.itch.io/shootlancer-prototype, and you can kind of like hang with us over there. Okay, let me see who is available to me. Reasonably certain, assuming that yeah, that's what I thought. Sitting there thinking about it, I'm reasonably certain that I know who we want to go visit. Yeah, we're gonna go hang out with Pleasantly Twisted because they were out of town for a bit, so we haven't been by to visit them in a while. They should be playing. I think they're playing Dark Souls, but I might be misremembering because Hungy is happening, so my brain is short circuiting a little bit. I was just looking, so I should know. Yeah, not Dark Souls. Thank you. They're ringing Eldenly. So yeah, So PT is currently playing Shadows of the Erdtree. It's like so. Thank y'all for coming by. When we go over there, give PT and SGH those rates. Let her know who sent you. Throw in your favorite emotes for them. They don't have to be my emotes. They can be whatever emotes you want. As a reminder, Pleasantly Twisted, they basically like eat and sleep from soft games relatively easily. They've done Elden Ring already. This is their first time in the DLC, so no spoilers. And definitely no backseat, because they know what they're doing. There are probably more things that I think PT has forgotten about Elden Ring than most people will remember in their lifetime. So, and I might be exaggerating a little bit, but also no, they're just really good at this kind of game. So, remember, be chill, be cool. But anyway, thank y'all so much for stopping by. Friday is fighting games, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, probably DNF Duel. I really like playing Spectre in that game, and she's fun. Katana GF is love. Katana GF is life. By the time Sunday rolls around, I should be through the offensive section of Breath of Fire 4 that we ran ass first into last Sunday. So we'll have skipped a couple of things by the time we get back to it, but we should be through. Please look forward to it. Thank y'all for coming by. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. Don't go outside if you don't have to. Be excellent to not the bigots, racist, turfs, sexist, anti-queer folks, or Zionists. Your reminders. Black lives matter. Trans rights are human rights. Reproductive rights are human rights. Palestine must be free. Sudan must be free. Congo must be free. New Caledonia must be free. Fascism should not exist in a right-thinking world. That is simply just the way that it is. Thank y'all so much for hanging out. I'll see y'all when I see you, whenever that is. Take care, yeah? Deuces.